Sometimes you need a nap. Sometimes you just need water. Sometimes you need a hug. Sometimes you need medication. Sometimes you need surgery. But it's about really looking at what healing is and all the modalities that are available to accomplish that.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman,
And if you were just
Logan
to
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're talking to a terrific author, a wonderful guest. Her name is Dr. S. Cornelia Franz, and she has penned a book you're just going to love. It is called Common Sense Pediatrics, combining alternative and traditional medicine in everyday practice. In this groundbreaking book, the doctor draws on decades of pediatric experience to empower parents with a holistic approach to their children's health, combining the best of both traditional and alternative medicine. It is a practical, eye-opening guide that redefines what healthcare can look like in today's world. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team Inks and Bindings for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Why do you think so many healthcare providers, doctors, and other practitioners tend to ignore alternative therapies and alternative medicine?
I really cannot speak for other people. I can only speak for myself, but I think a lot of it is our training.
Mhm.
Our training is very science oriented, pathology oriented, very medical oriented. And, I talk about that in the book. You come out really wanting to stamp out disease, and we have a lot of information. The non-traditional things are not really taught in medical school. You learn them outside of it, like I did. Very often from a very personal experience that gets you into a different path, which is what happened to me, because I was very traditional in the beginning.
What changed you? What changed your perspective? What changed your practice?
Our first child,
Hmm.
okay? Our first child got sick in the first 3 years of life. He had two surgeries. He had sinusitis, which is not common in small children, but he had two surgeries to drain, and he was on antibiotics all the time. And I hit a point where I said, I cannot do this anymore. And I came across another doctor who did homeopathy. So we went to see him. He talked to me for an hour, hour and a half. He gave our child homeopathic pellets that resolved a year and a half of problems. And I was like, oh my God, I call them holy moments because that changed the trajectory of my career. I found a homeopathic school. I went back, I learned it. I began to integrate it into the practice beside the traditional things we know. And then a few years later, I had an acupuncturist join the practice and just continued to see things happen that I'm like, I didn't know this could happen. And so that's what got me into it. And the more you get into it, the more success you have, the more you see it works, the more you have reduced antibiotic usage, reduced hospitalizations, great outcomes, and happy parents, the more you want to do it. For me, the image was I'd been banging my head against a brick wall in this image, and somebody handed me a ladder, and I climbed up to the top, and the vista was stunning, and I was like, you have no idea all this is here. So it, to me, healing is about whatever it takes. Sometimes you need a nap. Sometimes you just need water. Sometimes you need a hug. Sometimes you need medication. Sometimes you need surgery. But it's about really looking at what healing is and all the modalities that are available to accomplish that.
Some of the homeopathic remedies, treatments, or procedures that are particularly effective that you feel should be employed more versus traditional drug therapy that you might get in traditional Western medicine?
There are over 2,000 remedies, and it's all based on what your symptoms are. So, a couple of things that are inspiring. I know plastic surgeons are using arnica because
Mhm.
arnica really speeds resolution of bruising, and we use it too. In our practice in pediatrics, there's a remedy for children, pulsatilla. When you're weepy, whiny, clingy, it works. And I
Mm.
have a huge section in the book on homeopathic remedies that people can easily use every day, explaining, what symptoms they're for. Acupuncture is phenomenal. Okay.
Mm.
It just, um, anybody who's got hormonal dysregulation, so all you ladies listen, okay, because hormonal dysregulation, painful periods, menopause, acupuncture does such a great job, better than supplements, better than medication. It's repetitive and consistent, and that's what becomes really important, that you do it, it works, you do it, it works.
A lot of these therapies and treatments and herbs sometimes have been used for thousands of years in Eastern cultures, in the Far East, for example. And it seems like Western medicine just, precludes all of that knowledge, all of that history, and all of those good outcomes and dismisses it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, yeah,
And for a lot of people, it feels like it boils down to patents and money. You can't patent nature. But
yeah.
Eastern medicine has been around for 6,000 years. Western medicine has been here 250, maybe 300.
Yeah.
It's still very young, and it has its place. I am a Western
Hmm.
trained doctor. I still use it. But finding the other modalities just revolutionized everything that I do.
Yeah. I think it's always telling when you think about vitamins, for example, and how important they are to prenatal health. A woman on prenatal vitamins, has better outcomes. Her child spinal bifida has been largely eliminated because of it. But if you ask your doctor as an adult, should I take a multi? They're like, well, if you want to. I'm like, why is it so important that a pregnant woman take a multivitamin, but not so important if I take it? I mean, that's kind of one of the discrepancies I've always found with Western medicine, that they're not proactive enough in promoting good health as reactive in treating the disease.
Well, a pregnant woman is growing a person.
Mhm.
Okay, so if she is, and it's been proven that if she's deficient in folic acid, we get neurospinal problems, myomeningeal, spina bifida, those kinds of things. So that much is pretty much been proven that if she takes the prenatal, then that makes that way less likely to happen. So, that makes sense. Um, the supplement industry is billions of dollars, and a lot of doctors just say it's expensive urine. And I go, yeah, but sometimes the supplements do help people. I cannot ever argue with success. But the problem with supplements for me is when you quit taking them, you go backwards. So they're helping, but they're not resolving. It's finding the root problem that makes a big difference. And, and we focus on homeopathy um, and the Chinese medicine, but I also want to say that chiropractic can be amazing, and craniosacral therapy. Those things we use a ton in newborns because being born, it's natural, but it's still not easy. You're still being squeezed, like out of a bowling ball. So they can have just misalignment of their neck. You correct that, you get reduced colic. There are just so many things that are so simple and so easy that have such profound effects on the body.
Absolutely. How can parents know when to rely on natural remedies versus conventional treatments?
That I think has a lot to do with the practitioner that you see, which is part of the reason I've written that book. because this works. It's such a great resource because it has all these simple things for minor illnesses. So if something's not working, then you seek somebody who can help you navigate that, right? I
Mhm.
don't do acupuncture. I'm not trained. I refer to them because I
Mhm.
know what they do works. And then as you speak to people and work with people who've seen things, like I can tell you acupuncture can do great things for hormonal dysregulation, and I've seen it help regulate thyroid. Migraines, I had terrible migraines. Acupuncture and herbs healed them after 25 years. I had migraines disappear on the table. So it's, and a lot of Chinese practitioners, I love what they say. I went to school so you didn't have to.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you are out of your comfort zone or something's not working, seek help.
Yeah.
It's just simple.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are certain ailments that seems like all children have. I'm a parent. My kids are grown now, but earaches, sore throats, fevers, upper respiratory infections. I mean, it just seems to be like, like that a lot until they get older. And usually the answer is by traditional doctors and traditional medicine are antibiotics. And obviously, there are cases when that's absolutely necessary. But what are some of the other treatments or remedies for those common childhood ailments that I just described that are perhaps more natural and maybe even safer when it comes to contraindications?
Well, most illnesses children get are viral, right?
Yeah.
And they're just the most common, and antibiotics don't work on that. So we use our Chinese herbaceuticals that work amazingly well. Then for earaches, we almost never use antibiotics for earaches. There's
Mhm.
still a few. We use garlic and willow oil or garlic and mullein. We use homeopathy, and we will even couple that with a Chinese herbaceutic. What I found in my experience earlier on was way younger. When we used antibiotics, I would see parents back at 10 days and then I'd say, okay, you can finish the antibiotic. And they go, oh, I stopped it. I go, when? 3 days. I go, why? They go, I forgot. And the ears were healed. So I started seeing everybody back at 3 days. I would
Right.
do 3 days of antibiotics, they were all healed. Then it just progressed to using homeopathy, the topical drops and herbaceuticals. We still see them back at 3 to 5 days and they're better. So, what really happens in healing is the body heals itself. We facilitate with the right instructions, whether it's homeopathy, herbaceuticals, antibiotics. Antibiotics are still needed for really bad infections, but you can still use other things concurrently that help tell the body, get better. And it goes, oh, all right then.
Tell me how parents can use your book to make better informed decisions about their child's health.
Well, read it.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, it's a great resource. The first third of the book is all about well visits. All right. And so it's from newborn, which is the longest chapter, all the way to 18. And I've included what's normal developmentally, some books to read, some advice, so you can use it for that. You can even use it as a baby book, really, because you can record information. Then there's a whole section on homeopathy, so you can read that and know what remedies to use for things. I have the longest section is 103 illnesses that for all the ones that were pediatric, I included both traditional, non-traditional. For ones that seemed to be more adults, it was strictly non-traditional. So it's a reference. You can look up things. Perhaps the next edition will be 2 volumes. I don't know. It doesn't contain everything, but it contains a lot of information.
Absolutely. It is a great resource and a wonderful read and a wonderful guide for parents who are navigating unknown and uncharted territory for them. When you have a baby, you really are overwhelmed. The couple is often young. Sometimes it's not a couple, sometimes it's just a mom or just a dad. And they're dependent on that pediatrician to educate them often on vaccines, on, prevention of accidents, which is huge with children as well. So I always found my visits to the pediatrician very, very helpful, but none ever suggested homeopathic remedies. And I think that's where your book really sheds a light on Eastern medicine that has been largely ignored in this country. Before I leave you today, Doctor, I want to ask you, what's the one lesson or that you hope all parents take away after reading this book?
That there are other options available for restoring health. And I mean, that's the big message. And we are here to empower you and educate you and work with you in the things you want for your family.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time today and for this wonderful book. It is called Common Sense Pediatrics. It's more than just a book. It's a parenting toolkit for navigating the modern medical landscape with both wisdom and confidence. Doctor, thank you so much for being our guest here today.
Oh, thank you so much.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and your wisdom. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.